M3.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast,
M3.
the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners
M3.
to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
M3.
Here we go. What's going on, everyone? L.A. Williams and Sean V. Bradley in the building. What's going on, my man?
Man, I got to just tell you, I'm embarrassed because usually I'm the one that starts this because we don't do our shows like we used to as co-hosts. I usually been taking the lead, you're taking the lead, so I was a little off my mark, but I'm back. You got me. So what's up, baby? How you been?
Man, I've been excellent, man. Just working with the team, working with a bunch of salespeople, working with a bunch of internet coordinators, working with a bunch of dealers, just taking life, to the top because the bottom is not an option. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, let me just say this. I got to say my tagline. Yo, this is SVB in the place to be, and it's the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And, man, I just got off the phone with one of our listeners, Greg. He owns a Ferrari dealership in Florida, and, man, them cars are sexy as hell, LA. You ever driven a Ferrari, LA?
I ain't never driven one. I don't even think I've ever ridden in a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely have. Yeah, no, they're gorgeous. Matter of fact, LA, we got to turn around and reenact that scene from Al Pacino, you know what I mean? Where, from, what was that, Son of a Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was in that Ferrari. Ha! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, I know we had you driving a quad, an ATV. We had you driving a Vanderhall.
Mm-hmm.
But can somebody out there get this blind guy some visionary stuff, man? Get him a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Again, so if we close this deal and we wind up working with this dealer, you know what I'm saying? We'll get you to drive a ride in that Ferrari. Okay, LA?
Let's go.
All right. So today's going to be a little special because we're planning on doing what exactly, LA?
We're going to respond to some questions from folks who are in our Millionaire Car Salesman group. There's one gentleman in particular who took it upon himself to send us an email in order to get in the group because he wasn't quite in the industry yet. And y'all know we don't play that. You know what I'm saying? If you're not in the industry, you can't be in our group. But he sent us an email. He told us he was, interviewing for some positions, kind of like our guy John, who was on the podcast a couple weeks back. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
All right, so I have one also that I'm gonna go into from the group that just made a post too. But let's start with the guy that you're talking about, Paul Campbell. Mm-hmm. Paul's from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So Paul, this one's for you. So Paul sent in an email and he said, gentlemen, firstly, I love the passion and enthusiasm you hold as you work through your podcast. Excellent and informative guests make it a real treat to tune into. If you would be so kind, I'm soon taking interviews as a salesperson in the automotive industry, transitioning from 20 years of hospitality management. What would you consider the most important 5 things a new player in the industry like myself should place extreme focus on out of the gate and well into my career? Also, which franchises will you consider best, all things considered, for myself? Again, so let's start with the franchise one, because I get this question a lot. What's the best franchise to work for? Now, again, this is a loaded question. I was in the Army, ROTC, and the Reserve. So if somebody said, what's the best branch of the service? Army, right? If you ask a Navy boy, what's the best branch of the service? They're going to say Navy. You ask a Marine, they're going to say a Marine, because that's what we're repping. That's what we're flagging. So with that being said, I'm going to give you what I think are easier brands to work at, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should go there. I think that obviously if you work at a Toyota dealership or a Honda dealership, your life could be a little bit more easier than if you worked at a Mitsubishi dealership or if you worked at a Buick GMC dealership. So honestly, now there's a classification called Tier 1 or Tier 2. Tier 1 are the main franchises. That's like your Toyota, your Honda, your Ford, and your Chevy. Don't get me wrong, Kias are on fire, Hyundais are on fire, Nissans are great products, but those are Tier 2 products compared to that. So I would say that, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but those are the stats as far as that. But now, you shouldn't decide on where you're going to work at based on what franchise. Now, I would say I would probably start at a Toyota or Honda dealership or Ford or Chevy possibly because of the volume and the sales. But what you want to look into, and I'll give my co-host some time to answer this too, but in my professional opinion, what's more important is the dealership itself. What are their philosophies? What are their best practices? For example, do they believe in training? Do they provide training? Because a lot of stores don't. A lot of stores rather spend money on marketing and advertising because they don't value their employees. That's not true, Sean Bradley. Bullshit, it's not true. Of course it's true. When you spend $65,000 a month in advertising on average and less than $1,000 a month on human resources, in professional development, in training, in personal development, team building, then you believe in marketing and advertising more than you do in your own people. So I would look for a store that values their employees as an asset, not as an expense. Their employees are an asset, not a liability. So they offer training. They have the proper technology, the proper resources. Look at their online reputation, not just their Google reviews and their Yelp reviews. Here's a pro hack, okay? Look at the Google reviews and Yelp reviews and the dealer rate reviews and those type of reviews to see how they treat their customers. But go to the dealership's Glassdoor. What? Yes, go to Glassdoor or go to Indeed and type the dealership's name in there, and you're going to see the employment reviews. That's what I would base my employment status on, not just the franchise, but how do they treat their people? How do they value their people? How do they reward their people? Now, I would also remember that there's 8 ways that a showroom salesperson could sell a car: walk-in, be-back, internet, phones, prior customers, orphan owners, service conversions, referrals, and lost out of prospecting. If you're just starting in this industry, you're going to want to and need to eat off of the land, so to speak, until you build your book of business. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you got your good fair share of ups. 99% of Americans go online before they step into the dealership. Some dealerships do not allow, certain salespeople to touch internet leads or phone leads. I wouldn't work at a store like that unless I was one of those people, because I'm just telling you, 99% of Americans go online. The internet and phones are the new showroom. And you're telling me I can't do that because that's an internet consultant's job? The fuck out of here. There's no way in hell I'll work there personally. You know what I mean? But dealerships have a reason for that. I'm not saying that's bad for them. You asked my opinion. It's our show, so I'm giving you my opinion. I want to get my fair share of ups. Another thing is orphan owners. People think that orphan owners are garbage. They're not. They're really good. Why? It's the highest closing ratio is from a prior customer. Whether the prior customer bought for you or bought from another salesperson no longer there, they still are a prior customer of the dealership. It's a 65% closing ratio. So are you able to get your fair share of orphan owners? Service drive. NADA says that a service customer is 7 times as likely to purchase a vehicle from they service a car. Are you able to work the service drive? Now, here's another one. Does the dealership provide you resources or a budget for you to build your brand in within the dealership's brand? I'll give an example. When my daughter worked at Patriot Buick GMC, John Landoska was an amazing general manager for her. She had a co-op budget. He allowed her to get her build a brand website, T Got Your Keys. He helped chip in advertising budget to be able to get, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. And so the dealership invested in my daughter, which helped her blow up and become nationally famous. So does the dealership provide marketing tools, marketing, resources? Do they co-op or create a budget or reimburse you for that type of stuff? These things are important. Inventory. What is the inventory strategy? Everybody's stressing for inventory right now. Do you have a big inventory? Because it doesn't matter how good the dealership is, how good the franchise is, if you've got nothing to sell. So you need to make sure that you have an adequate new car and used car inventory, or you have a strategy to acquire those vehicles. LA, what say you?
Y'all know Sean B. Bradley does that type of stuff. It literally every time as you were going through what you were going through, I was like, all right, let me think of something else. And then you said it, right? And then I said, let me think of something else. And then you said it. So I was definitely on board with the whole thought process of having, you see, because dealerships talk about, selling cars is like having your own business, but then you never learn how to have your own business, right? It is having your own business. And so I totally believe in that thought process of, somewhere that is going to give you the freedom to really build your business inside of a business. And so what Sean talked about as far as the co-ops and things like that, man, that's huge, right? Because if you do have a business inside of a business, right, how I have with my financial services business, listen, I get brochures for like 10 cents. You see what I'm saying? Because it's co-op. It don't actually take 10 cents. It might be 35, 45 cents. It might be, thousands of dollars for my website, but I only got to pay $25 a month or whatever the case may be, right? So it allows me to build my business inside of a business. Your dealership should be doing that, the one that you choose at least.
Exactly. So again, I hope you realize that making the decision on what dealership you're going to work for is the most important decision of your career. What I will advise you on is the grass is not greener on the other side. There's so many dealers that have high attritions, like, means that there's a high turnover, things like that. If you want longevity and you want success in this department, you absolutely need to develop roots. The longer that you're staying at an organization, the longer that you develop ties to the community, that's going to be how, like, it's one of the paths of becoming extremely successful and building that business within the dealership. Because ultimately, my brother, what you want to be able to do is you want to turn around and de-escalate yourself from the umbilical cord. You don't want to take floor ups and phone ups and internet ups and even service ups and things like that. The most successful people in the country, like a Cody Carter or a Chrissy Burton, they don't take any ups from the dealership. They live off of repeat business and referrals and things that they generate on their own. So that's what the ultimate goal is to find the absolute best dealership. So you're not in a mistake and 2 weeks later or 3 months later, you're like, I got to go. Because the more that you jump around, the slower and slower it is for you to be able to hit that pinnacle of success. LA, would you agree with that as well?
100%, man. Culture is everything, right? You got to make sure that you fit with the people, right? And so we're going to talk about that as this podcast continues on. I got some definite bullet points for you, Mr. Campbell.
All right, and then so let's go to the other question. So that was the easier question. The other, I'm reading his notes right now, is that in the email, he also said, he's like, what advice do you have, specifically, what are the 5 things a new player in the industry like myself should, learn? Okay, so these are just my 5 things that I'm freestyling off the top. I'm sure I have other ones here, but for right this second, I think that starting with product knowledge. Because a lot of times what I find is that these new salespeople come in and they have a bunch of knuckleheads at the dealership that say, oh, the OEM training, that's stupid. Don't do that shit. It's a waste of time. Nobody does that. Matter of fact, you give me $50, I'll take your test for you. I mean, I've seen it and heard it all. Don't listen to those bum ass people. Don't. Take the product knowledge. How are you going to sell the second largest item in the average American's life, maybe even the most expensive item they're ever going to buy in their life, and you don't know that product inside and out? You know what makes a great sales professional? Somebody that is a master of their craft. Why am I so good at what I do and LA so good at what he does as trainers and consultants? Because we mastered our craft. We know our craft inside and out, forwards and backwards, etc. You need to master your craft, master your product knowledge. That's tip 1. Tip 2 is understand that there's a difference of product knowledge and learning how to sell a car. A lot of people don't realize that. They think that just because I get OEM certified, let's say my daughter, I'm Buick GMC certified. Well, that doesn't mean shit other than the product inside and out. That doesn't teach you the road to sale. It doesn't teach you how to properly greet a customer, how to, engage a prospect, how to thoroughly qualify, identify wants, wishes, expectations, how to exceed their expectations, utilizing a value package proposition, how to do a strategic features and benefits walk around presentation, how to turn around and get somebody to go on a test drive even if they don't want to, so you can build more value, how to turn around and do a proper service walk, come back, negotiate, close the deal, and rinse and repeat. You follow me? So learning how to sell a car is absolutely colossally important. And unfortunately, it's not as common as you think in dealerships. A lot of dealerships don't have thorough training for the road to the sale. So my tip number 2 is going to be able to master your road to the sale. Master your road to the sale. Tip number 3, people, places, and things. Don't surround yourself with people that are bitching and complaining at the dealership and whining and making excuses or in the huddle. And don't turn around and surround yourself at home with people that are not going anywhere. You are commission based in some or in whole part. So you are only as good as what you put into it. If you want to make a lot of money, then you've got to put that effort in. If you want the things that the average person doesn't have, like money, success, security, then you got to do the things that the average person isn't willing to do, like work hard, be proactive, and put the hater blockers on. So you need to turn around and have a commitment of personal excellence. And don't let anybody deter you, because people are going to say, oh, you're stupid, you're weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you using TikTok? Why are you posting cars in there? Why are you shooting videos? Why are you live streaming on Facebook? Why are you going to this event? Why are you going to that event? Why you have your own website? Why are you doing? Well, again, because they're broke and stupid. That's why they're not doing it. You don't want to fall into that same, conundrum. So my third tip is, please be weary of the backseat drivers. You need to drive your success yourself fully. Okay. Number 4, your goal has got to be to develop your own book of business. Because as I mentioned to you a couple moments ago, what you have to do, in my professional opinion, at first is eat off the land. You've got to, unless you're going to starve, you've got to eat whatever is being served to you from the dealership, internet ups, phone ups, walk-in ups, service ups, orphan owners, whatever you can scrape around, whatever crumbs you could grab, mine, until you start building your own book of business. But that's got to be your goal as soon as you hit the dealership. Even it might not be realistic at first, but you have to have that mindset, man. I need to get in where I fit. I need to do what I got to do, but I need to build my business. How are you going to build your business? Through social media, through Facebook, through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, through WhatsApp, through TikTok, etc. By building through YouTube. And then I would say, man, I only got one more left. I would say, this is hard because I have a lot of shit to say, right? So I would say, my friend, that this is a relationship business. And you can't lose sight of that. I don't want to minimize it or simplify it, because it's not simple and it's not small. It's gargantuan. It is everything. You have to be a people person. You've got to get people to like you, trust you, and believe you. There's something called the emotional bank account. I talk about this all the time. Just like a regular bank account, you can't go to the bank and withdraw $25,000 unless you want an FBI on your ass, or you've deposited 25 grand in there. There's no way they're going to give you 25 grand unless you're either robbing them or you've deposited in there. Same thing with this is, if you want the community, if you want people around you, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your frenemies, the shelter, the animal shelter, the churches, the police departments, whoever, if you want everybody to buy cars from you or refer people to buy cars from you, then you've got to deposit into the emotional bank account. You've got to be in the community, not just cutting checks. You need to be involved, whether it's sporting activities, it's coaching, it's schooling, it's extracurricular stuff. You've got to be there. Church volunteers, whatever it is that you do normally, you need to do more of it and immerse yourself in the community. Because at the end of the day, car sales is a people business. If you get somebody to like you, trust you, and believe you, hell, if they're in the market, they're going to buy from you. LA, what are your blind master 5 tips for my man here?
Wow, Sean, that was absolutely phenomenal. And it's so interesting because Sean and I, listen, we are always so busy. We don't really spend enough time together. I'm going to even just say it that way. But a lot of what he said is what I'm going to say. Now, I'm going to give you obviously my own special take on it. And it's definitely going to be worth you listening. So as I read that email, I said, wow, let me come up with 5 things for my guy, Paul, right, to give him exactly what he's looking for. So, Paul, since your name begins with P, I'm going to give you the ABCs of Mr. Paul Campbell, right? Or whoever's, just jumping into the industry. I'm going to give it to you in this format. Sean gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to give you P, Q, R, S, and T, okay? So you know who I am, right? I'm the blind phone master. So I'm going to tell you need T, telephone skills. Oh my goodness, man. You absolutely must get great at making and taking phone calls. You don't want to be that salesperson that, was just saying random raggedy things on the phone. That is not acceptable. You want to make sure that you are highly skilled on the phone. You want to make sure you know how to identify, meet, exceed expectations on the phone. You want to make sure you have mastered the expectations and rebuttals, different things that you can say back. You want to make sure that you know how to sound the way that you ought to sound. You got to know how to break through gatekeepers. You got to learn how to leave great voicemail. You got to learn how to use the phone in the best way. You got to make sure you know how to text message. You got to make sure that you know how to skip voicemails and all kind of cool stuff. A lot of the stuff we actually teach in Bradley on Demand, but we'll talk about that at a later date and time. But T, absolutely, you got to get great at telephone skills, okay? Also, the S, you got to get great at sales skills. Sean said it, right? It's not just about, specs, codes, options, specs, one of the things that we teach brand new salespeople is that we got to learn to, Read the window sticker. Y'all all said it with me. Absolutely. Read the window sticker. But that's just the beginning, right? If you can read a window sticker, you're probably at the third level of what I call in sales. I talk about socializers, I talk about aggressors, but you become a narrator when you can read the window sticker, right? And then some people go in the wrong direction. They become focusers. Like, okay, I can do more to read the window sticker, LA. I know everything there is to know about this vehicle. Okay, great. But can you tell a story, right? Can you engage in individuals in a storytelling fashion, right? That is the fifth level of becoming a great sales individual. You gotta become memorable by telling what? Memorable stories, right? And so this is one of the things that salespeople can do. Let's take it to the next level. You gotta learn how to ask questions. And I'm still in my S. I'm not even in my Q yet, right? We're in the sales stuff. You gotta learn to ask questions. You gotta be a consultant. You have to ask questions that lead a person down the path to a sale. Sean talked about it, the road to the sale. Yeah, that's absolutely something your dealership should provide. You should follow it. But as you have conversations with people, you got to ask them leading questions that take them to where they want to go, right? And then you also want to become a closer. Don't just start asking random questions. Learn how to ask the right questions. It's called the right questions, right? And lead someone to make a great decision. Now, lastly, you got to become an expert, right? Now, what experts do better than anyone else, right? They have all of those characteristics that I just talked about, and they're prepared, right? And so this is where, Sean, it kind of leads me into my R, right? They have relationships with people, right? It's not just like the first time you are working with somebody in a dealership is not the first time that they're having a conversation with you. No, because you're prepared. You've had conversations. You've built that relationship. I mean, listen, the daggone deal should be done before they even walk through the door. If you really want to know how the top salespeople are doing it, that's what they're doing. So you got to make sure, don't be one of them loner people, man. Loner people, I don't even know how they successful. Unless you plan on making some sort of microchip or something like that. But man, people, you got to have people in your life. So you absolutely have to have R, relationships. So I gave you the T, telephone skills. I gave you the S, sales skills. I gave you the R, relationship skills. I'm going to give you exactly what Sean said. You got to have quitting skills, right? Q, you got to quit from being around the people, places, and things that hold you back from success. Oh my goodness, man. Listen, they say birds of a feather flock together. So if you hang out with 4 broke people, probably going to be the 5th. That's just how it goes, right? Because you are doing the things that they're doing. You're in the places that you're hanging out with those same people. That energy is rubbing off on you. Man, one of the things that I had to do, listen, I love my hood, North Philly, right? But if I wanted to be successful, I had to stay away from the folks for a period of time, right? I had to do what I had to do in order to become worth over 7 figures. You understand? I mean, that's just the game. I'm just telling you how it really is, right? So you got to have quitting skills. And then number 5, you got to have people skills. Now, listen, I'm going to give you the people skills on a little bit of a different level, right? You got to understand people's personality types, right? So in order to be a great salesperson, I just believe that you have to first identify how people think, right? Sean talks about kinesthetic thinkers and, visual thinkers and auditory thinkers, but you also got to know, is a person a structured thinking person, right? How structured are they? If you look at their car, is it, they generally got a clean car, stuff is all in the right places and everything, right? If you look at their bag, they've got, stuff all in the right places. Well, with those people, you have to explain things to them like this. Okay, so number 1, we're going to do ABC, Sean. Number 2, we're going to do this. And then number 3, you're going to drive out of here with it. You got to be able to explain things to them in a manner that makes sense, something that's very structured, break it down to them, right? Are they a technical thinking person? See, LA, I'm the kind of person where you can't get me to do nothing unless you tell me why. Right? I just don't connect with it. I don't understand. It just don't make logical sense to me because I can't connect with it, right? But if I know why we're doing something, oh man, I could put my heart into that, right? And so you're gonna have customers they're gonna have questions. Well, why are you doing that? Well, why are you doing that? And I'm not talking about the ignorant ones. I'm talking about the ones who genuinely are curious. They want to understand the process. And so you absolutely want to teach it to them, okay? Because that's how you're gonna win. That's how you're gonna win them as a friend, okay? Then you got those people that they don't care why. They just want to do it. They just want to get it done. They're called A personality types. Action, right? Usually you find this and a lot of business owners, a lot of successful people, they are A personality types. They're action because that's what it takes to be successful. You got to have some daggum A in you, right? Because if you don't have that, all of the dreams and plans and all the what we want to talk about, it's going to be for naught. I'm telling you, your dreams are nothing. It's dust, right? I'm telling you. Unless you have action. So this is the reason why action people generally are successful. Sean, did you know that 60% of the entrepreneurs in America are A personality type? I'm talking about 60%, yeah. And so that means the other 40% share the other 3 personality types, right? And I know there's a bunch of them, but I'm just giving you 4 right now. The last one is relationship people. Man, these are people that they got pictures of their kid, they got pictures, they just love people. I mean, they got pictures of their friends, you know. If you look on their phone, it's not like a picture, it's a picture of like a family thing, right? Man, they want to feel, they gotta know that you like them as a person, they like you as a person, right? If you don't have that, then man, I'm telling you, you're gonna struggle when it comes to people skills, right? There's a book that I'll recommend. Sean always recommends the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and all that good stuff. But our team in January, we read a book called Skills with People by Les Giblin. It's one of the easiest books you'll ever read. I highly encourage it, right? First of all, it's real easy. I think it's less than 200 pages. It might even be less than 100 pages. But it talks about having skills with people. You got to go get those skills. If you master those things that Sean just mentioned to you, if you use the 5 things that I just gave to you, there's no way that you won't win. And that's a promise. Back to you, Sean.
Nah, man, LA, you're killing them. So I want to be able to kind of redirect here in a little bit, and I want to be able to focus on just something a little bit different here.
Hold on. Well, so before we do that, let me do this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
February, the month of commitment. It's over. Bradley On Demand has gone March mad. Dealers and managers, are you tired of long-term commitments and contracts? Well, this month, for the first time in the history of professional automotive sales, you can get access to the best training, tracking, testing, and certification platform with no commitment.
We've never done this before.
Not sure if we ever will again. So if you want to jump on and jump off Bradley On Demand at will, then text the 2 words no commitment to 267-551-6279 or email Tiana at dealersynergy.com with the words no commitment in the subject line. Do it now and you'll be able to one day sing this song.
I'm the millionaire car salesman. I'm a millionaire.
Which happens to be the name of this podcast. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And Sean, you said you had something special you wanted to do for my guy, Paul Campbell. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, Paul, here's what I also want to share with you is that, you know, first of all, you're obviously a listener to the podcast. And so that's what you want to do. You want to try to get as much free resources as you can. That's why we do what we do. So you have this podcast, which is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and you could go back and we're into 7 seasons. So you got 7 seasons worth of incredibly free, strong ass content. But besides that, you have the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. So we are sitting on almost 25,000 verified, vetted, and validated dealer principals, GMs, and automotive professionals, and other, you know, internet directors, BDC directors, and stuff like that. So you have a community that you can ask whatever question. So as you're starting at the dealership, if you've got a challenge, go to the group. You don't have to wait till I get on air and answer your questions. In real time, you could post those questions to tens of thousands of your peers, and you could get answers. So for example, you're like, hey, I'm struggling with dealing with, I'm just looking. How do you handle that? And all these people in the group are going to give you different word tracks, different ideas, different things to say. You might say, I'm trying to build my book of business. You know, Sean says that I got to, you know, build my book of business. How do you do that? You know, there are going to be 50 million people that are posting. If you just scroll right now, there's a gentleman that's doing TV commercials with his kid. I mean, there's some creative, amazing things. That's why this group, we've got 25,000 automotive professionals. I mean, you're based out of Canada. We're based in the United States, and we've got people from, you know, the UK. We got people, you know, all over the United States and all over the place. So you could get such a diversified, assortment of different ideas for every situation, for every franchise, for every, philosophy style. So I would just say leverage those resources. The other thing is that, again, YouTube is great. You just type in, like, I think I broke 6 million views on YouTube off of one of my channels. I think all my channels, I'm probably hitting over 8 million views. And I'm a car guy. I'm a trainer. I'm not like, like Bruce Springsteen or anything special. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a musician. I'm a car salesman. Yeah, I mean, and so that shows you how desperate people are for information, for training, because the majority of my videos are like LA's talk about their training videos, for phone skills, text messaging skills, CRM skills, etc. And that brings me to my other point. One of the best friends you're going to have at the dealership is your CRM. CRM stands for customer relationship management. My advice, I only had 5 before, but this is the bonus one, is master your CRM. Don't make CRM your enemy. Don't make CRM difficult, and don't fall into the bullshit of everybody else that I hate the CRM. The CRM sucks. It's a waste of time. Blah, blah. No, embrace it. Master everything about it. Get as much knowledge as you can from your CRM company. They all have training portals. Some of them suck, some of them are good. But then go to Google, go to YouTube. For example, if you're Vin Solutions, type Vin Solutions into Google, start reading articles and case studies and details, best practices. If you are in Vin Solutions, for example, go to YouTube and see all these how-to videos and hacks and ideas and this, that, and the other thing. Master your craft like you were going to master any career you're trying to get, like a PhD in. Think about it. There's people that go to college, okay, for years or a decade, even if you're getting a PhD, to come out and having certainly a job force. My 21-year-old daughter, she's 22 now, made $25,000 in 1 month selling freaking Kias. Facts. You've got, our guy, Cody Carter, who's the #1 salesperson in the country right now at Tustin Toyota, who made over $1.1 million in 2022. He just sold 121.5 units in December, the other month. So there's so much opportunity, but you got to master your craft. Like you are trying to become an astronaut or become, a doctor, to become a freaking, a brain surgeon, whatever, except you don't have to go through all those years of school. You don't have to go into all that debt. You just have got to learn how to freaking talk on the phone and text message and social media and email and have a personality. So LA, I want to jump into the next person, but I want you to close out Paul.
No, absolutely, man. I think we gave him, tons and tons of tips, tons and tons of resources. And look, I like when, and I think didn't Hope say Biggie said like number 5 should have been number 1 to me, or one of them numbers, right? That CRM thing, I'm telling you, is super duper important, man. So fire stuff. Let's go to the next one.
All right, so this one's like special. That's why I'm going to do it. So if you look on the screen here, guys, like if you go to the Millionaire Car Salesman group right now, right under like this, hey, what's up, Jason Coons? Shout out to Jason Coons. There's a couple other people. Tiana Mick, shout out to Tiana. So Jason said, what's up? But you're going to see there's a post from a gentleman named Gene Lopez. Shout out to Gene Lopez. So Gene Lopez, and he's one of our moderators, he says, to maximize your efforts on the internet, does your process include a phone call, text message, and email? What process do you feel provides maximum results? All right, so this one goes out to Gene Lopez. Before I answer it, I want to just tell you who Gene Lopez is. Gene Lopez used to be my general manager when I worked at Pine Belt, Nissan, Kia, Cadillac, and Tom's River back in 2001. So 22 years ago, I worked for this guy. He was my GM, and I used to sell 100+ units a month out of my internet department 22 years ago, folks. So I owe him, because he put me on, you know what I mean? So Gene, this one's for you. All right. So what's the best internet process? Well, you said phone call, email, text message. That is old school as fuck, okay? Because most people don't communicate on the phones anymore. They don't answer the phone when you call. They're slow to call you back. It's text messaging is more, and then you mentioned email. Let me give you some stats. Email is only 7% of communication, comprehension, excitement, clarity, learning, etc. Matter of fact, Text, or the words we use, email, text messaging, or chat, is only 7%. Whereas phone is sound and inflection, which is 38%, versus visual perception, body language. When somebody's physically at your dealership, it's 55%, or all three is 100%. So what I would say is this: yes, there's some value in email, but it's the least value. Emails only have a read open rate of about 2 to 4%. So I would say that you want to have emailing because it's free, it's in there, but you want to have video emails. Video emails increase read open rates up to 300%. And I highly recommend BombBomb. If you go to BombBomb, BombBomb.com/dealer synergy, you're going to see that there's a special Groupon. It's like a national program. You cannot get BombBomb cheaper than going through us. We are the cheapest that you could ever get BombBomb, and because it's like a Groupon type thing. Anyway, so it's a video email and video text message platform that integrates with every CRM out there. So again, video email is very, very powerful. Next, video text messaging is also extremely powerful because it's sight, sound, motion, and emotion versus then just the 7% communication medium. But here's where we're going to step it up, Gene. Apple FaceTime. Okay, so 50%, approximately half of all your prospects have an iPhone or an iPad. I have a lot of people that I know that have Android phones, but they have an iPad as well. Okay, so I would say that probably more than 50%, probably 60% of people have access to an Apple device, either an iPad or iPhone or Apple Watch. You follow me? So if that's the case, then what you want to be able to do is Apple FaceTime people, because there is no rules of engagement. The FCC TCPA guidelines has no precedent there. So I'm telling you, if you create in your CRM process or your CRM action plan, protocols, not just phone call, not just email, but to Apple FaceTime people, you're going to be shocked. You're like, man, this is bullshit. I dare you. I double dare you, Thundercat, dare you to try it, because you're going to be like, oh shit, you're going to owe me a text message and a thank you. You know what I mean? And maybe a bottle of Ace of Spades. Shout out to, Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Because you're going to be like, oh my God, this works. I'm telling you, you try to call people 50 million times, they never answer. All of a sudden you Apple FaceTime them and they think they got a friend. Gotcha, baby. Gotcha. I do got to warn you, though, you might see some shit you're not prepared to see, because people are not expecting the car salesman to Apple FaceTime them. But Apple FaceTime or Google Video is what I would do. Now, another thing is social media DMs. Folks, Vin Solutions is integrated with social media. DriveCentrics, who I'm not a fan of, but they are also integrated with Facebook. So again, you've got to realize, why are multiple CRM companies integrating with social media? Here's why. Because social media is the number one form of communication on planet Earth. Hit them with an echo on that, baby, in post. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So what I'm saying right here is that you want to use social media DMs. Well, what does that mean? Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, WhatsApp Messenger, okay? TikTok Messenger, Twitter Messenger. These are DMs, direct messages, because if social media is the number one form of communication, let's think about this. L.A. Williams submitted an internet purchase request on a 2023 Ferrari, whatever, right? So he submitted an internet purchase request on a vehicle. I'm trying to follow up with him through phone call, email, text. First of all, everybody and their mother is trying to do the same thing. The average prospect, JD Power is saying, is searching 9 to 11 other dealerships and websites. I'm going to repeat that. The average prospect, your average prospect, is looking at other people. There's no such thing as brand loyalty anymore. Are you crazy? That was a smack. Wake up. Brand loyalty doesn't exist right now. It's about availability and price right now. That's what it is. So all that shit about for the decades build up brand loyalty. Stop. The pandemic killed all that shit. Brand loyalty. If you have that vehicle in stock, that's what I'm loyal to. If you're going to get me a better price, that's what I'm loyal to. No, they're not, Sean. You're lying. Okay, wake up. Okay? I'm telling you right now, I had a client that I tried to buy a brand new Aviator with. I waited 7 damn months because it was my client. Even I tapped the fuck out. I was like, I got to get my deposit back. 7 months is too long. I'm sorry. I love you. You're my client and everything like that, but I got to go. And they were like, I'm surprised you stayed 7 months. That's what they actually said to me. They're surprised I stayed in that long. And that's because I had skin in the game. They're my client. I mean, like, again, brand loyalty is not there anymore, not like it used to, at least. So what I wanted you to know is this. If every other dealership is experiencing the same thing you are, there's low inventory or difficult inventory, especially on the new car side, or prices are exponentially higher, or both, low inventory and the shit you do have is expensive as hell. So don't you think that the public is looking at other options, other dealerships, other makes, other models? So what do you think they're doing? Using the carrier pigeon? Do you think they're using Indian smoke signals or a carrier pigeon named Bob with a little note on his ankle? No, they're phone calling, email, and texting just like you. So the only thing you can hope is if that's all you're doing is to be faster and better. But here's a better way. Do what everybody else is doing, just do it faster and better. But on top of email, phone call, and text, do what everybody's not doing. Social media DMs, Apple FaceTime, Skypes, and things like that. So I just wanted to say, Gene, that's the first thing is the type of follow-ups that you do. Now, let's split this on a different level too. Frequency. Before the pandemic, manufacturers said the average buying cycle is between 83 and 87 days. I'll round it up to 90 days. Before the pandemic, the average new car prospect gestation period, as per JD Power, NADA, and whoever tracks this shit, said 90 days. 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. Why do you think it would be the same thing if we're in a dilapidated reality because of the economy, between the chip shortages, the HR shortages, and the fact that there's low inventory, the fact that cars are astronomically high? Don't you think that's going to be the kindling of the conflagration of everybody out there searching, trying to find the car and get it as cheap as possible? So there's a lot of leads that are generated, more than ever now. Right now in 2023, there's more leads than ever. But here's the crazy part. The buying cycle has been elongated because of the direct orders and the lack of inventory. So on average, it went from 90 days up to 5 months. It's 150 days. That's a long time. So what you want to do is you need to understand. Let me break this down because a lot of people won't tell you this shit. Your manufacturer isn't telling you stuff. Remember who said it? Sean Bradley did, and L.A. Williams, the blind guy. How bad is that the blind guy's got to tell you this stuff and your OEM didn't even tell you this stuff? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I need some franchise money. I need a royalty from one of these OEMs for this shit. I'm helping everybody out right now. So OEMs, again, I'll send you my Cash App and my Venmo account. You know what I'm saying? I need to get some love. So follow me on this, guys. To be specific, this month in March, right? If your store, this is deep, if your store gets 500 leads in a month, which is about average, right? 500 leads a month for a regular mid-sized store that sells about like 90 to 100 cars. If I got 500 leads, you ready for this? Times 0.62. That means 310 of those leads will never close this month. What? What are you talking about, Sean? I just told you, people. Think about it. It makes sense if somebody breaks it down this way. If you have 500 leads, 62% of those people are not going to buy within the first 31 days from you or anywhere else. So that means out of 500 leads, you literally have, if you're lucky, 190 legitimate opportunities within that month. You understand me? What is that? 10% of that is 19 cars. Oh, that sounds really low because it really is. So what you want to be able to do is now let's double that number because I got stores that got thousands of leads. 1,000 leads in a month that costs approximately $22,000 to $25,000, right? Guess what? If you have 1,000 leads, 620 of those are not going to ever, no matter what you do, stand on your head, pluck like a chicken. It doesn't really matter what you do. You're never going to be able to sell 620 of those people that month because it's just not going to happen because the vehicles are not there, or people are still trying to do their due diligence or trying to get a cheaper deal, or they're trying to qualify or trying to scrape up the down payment money or whatever it is. So the other pro tip, Mr. Lopez, is not only do you want to diversify the types of way that you follow up, you want to elongate your process. At the bare minimum, I know I just said 5 months, but again, most dealers don't do a good job following up with the first 30-day leads. AutoWeb is, again, a major company that was founded in 1995. So again, it's almost almost 30 years they've been in business, right? So again, what's crazy about it is they say that 50% of their I think they have 8,000 rooftops. 50% of their clients don't even call their auto web leads within 48 hours. How in the world, in a global pandemic, do we have, I don't know, 4,000, 5,000 rooftops that are getting leads that don't even call these people for the first 48 hours? So let's put that to the side because you need to do that shit first. But let's say you got the basics done. What you want to do is make sure that your gestation period, make sure you're not just following up with leads from this month because you're going to be gravely disappointed. And you're probably like, oh my God, did you hear what they said on the podcast on Millionaire Car Salesman? That's why we're not selling cars. Yes, you're welcome. I just explained it. So what you need to do is your CRM process needs to be revamped. Your CRM process needs to include a middle to long-term follow-up protocol. You have to have a CRM protocol that is not ghetto or half-ass or stupid, that's going to follow up your prospects for a minimum of 90 days. Let's be crystal clear for the confused people out there, right? Yep. That means on March 1st, if I said that you have 500 leads in the month of March, not even worry about that. On March 1st, I'm saying that you're going to probably have at least 850 carryover leads. On March 1st, you have 850 active leads that are 90 days or less old. Plus, you're going to get 500 fresh leads that month. So that means that you're going to have 1,350 opportunities this month. Let me repeat that. Because if people are like, I got 500 leads and I can't sell cars, here's why. Because you're focusing on the wrong thing. If you've got 500 fresh leads that month, I promise you, you have approximately 1,350 total opportunities between fresh and carryover that month. So anytime you're coming up with an internet strategy or a CRM strategy, you want to diversify the ways you communicate and you want to elongate the gestation period. Damn it, LA, kill them with the ending of this.
Absolutely. I was getting ready to say, we got to close this bad boy out. So, man, listen, you're absolutely on it. And I don't understand the whole not getting back to people thing, because that is when they are in that quote unquote zero moment of truth, that first moment of truth. When they're most excited is when they submitted the information. Man, 48 hours later, man, I'm on to something else, right? We're actually in the process of buying another property, right? And, I'm reaching out to folks and they acting like they want to sell it, but then they don't get back and they want to send me a message 48 hours later. I'm like, man, I'm off your property. I'm on to something else. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what's happening in the automotive industry. And listen, we got to get away from it. So with that being said, man, I'd say all the time, you are the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. And you've just been spending time with Mr. L.A. Williams, the blind master, and Mr. Sean V. Bradley, CSP. It's your turn. Go out there and be a millionaire car salesman. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace. So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.